Today, we're going to talk about why, now that I have the Spark Mini, I never use the Spark 40. This came from some questions that came in comments and on YouTube videos and live streams and stuff, wondering what it sounds like, which one sounds better in the room. So we're going to get to that, and we're going to get to a bunch of other kind of versus things after having them both for quite a while now. I know this is a late video, but I feel it's more, I don't want to say more accurate, but at least for me, it's more accurate because I've literally used both of them a ton now and kind of have an idea. So let's get a couple of things out of the way that are the same. The software engine that they both run on is the same. So you can plug them both via USB. We'll get to the differences in a minute, but you can plug them both USB into an interface, or honestly directly into an iPhone with an adapter, or your smartphone if you've got a USB, or your laptop or whatever. You can plug it in, go straight into an interface, and it sounds great. You probably don't know how many times we have used either of these to demo a set of pickups or something like that, because it's just so easy to get a really good tone out of it. One's easier than the other for various reasons, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but the similarities are the software is awesome because it's based on positive grids, amp and bias effects stuff, and it's pretty killer. When you plug it into the computer, this thing is kind of old school. It's got one of those, one of those big old USB kind of cables, you know, like an old printer, like that. That's what this one. This new amp, because it's a newer technology, is USB-C. So it's way easier to like plug it into your MacBook, plug it into an iPad Pro, plug it into, you know, any new device. USB-C is super simple to use. The interface is different on both of these. On this one, you have what I would call full amp controls that I don't really like, and we'll get into that in a minute. This one only has the presets and basically volume for your MP3 tracks, which I never use, and volume for your guitar. All you really have that's useful on the top of the little one is a volume knob. That's basically it. But we're going to talk in a minute why I think that's better. This is one of the things I don't like about the Spark 40. When you manipulate the software and you go in there and you have a preset and you start to mess around with things, let's say you turn the bass up, or you turn the treble up, or you turn the gain up, or whatever adjustments you make. Obviously, these are not motorized. It does not reflect those adjustments. So the problem is that if you were to go and adjust these afterwards, then it tweaks to whatever this is, not whatever is in the amp. So the hard controls are not really synced with what's in the app. So it's better if you make the adjustments on here and then they reflect in the app, which is okay, except that saving presets, it gets to be a little fiddly, in my opinion. It gets to be a little fiddly. And I think it's cool. And for those of you that like to turn knobs on the top of an amp, get a Princeton Tone Master and a regular pedal board and just do that. If you want to go the digital way, get a Princeton Tone Master. These amps to me are for practicing. It's like you set up a sound once that you like and you use that to practice. Now, obviously we have a bunch of different guitars, so I have a bunch of different presets set based on which guitar I want to use. If I want to play a Tele, if I want to play my SG with a P90 in it, if I want to play my Fiore, if I want to play, you know, Strat style stuff, whatever, high gain stuff, doesn't matter. Now I can have those presets in there for each guitar, but I don't find myself fiddling a lot. So that leads me to the Positive Grid Mini, because once I go in the app and I set up the app the way I want it and I save the presets, I have 4 presets on here, and if I want, let's see, what do we have here? I don't even remember. I have we have kind of a edge of, it's gainy, but it's a reed. There's a reason why I have it that way. And then we have this. Now, they might sound kind of all the same, but with different pickups, different guitars, you can do different stuff. Turn the volume down on the guitar, get it to react, play around with it. I really like these 4 presets that I have, and I use them quite a bit. But I don't go in there and tweak all the little knobs and stuff once I get the preset set, if that makes sense. So this stuff doesn't really matter to me that much. Next, let's talk about portability. Obviously, that's a huge thing. We live in an apartment, and I travel a lot because we have the van that we use to travel. And so when I go, I always take a guitar and this little amp with me. And I will tell you that I use this amp almost every day. I think I've only ever plugged it in a couple of times to charge. It lasts forever. I don't know what the actual hours that it's supposed to last, but it feels like it lasts forever, and it works really, really well. So I take this and a cable and a guitar with me, and even if I don't take a guitar with me on a trip, a lot of times I'll still take the amp and a cable just in case I run into a guitar on a trip or find a guitar that's going to end up coming home with me. You know what I mean? Like, I always have this with me. This is kind of too big and heavy to do that. And I know people have modded them to, like have batteries inside and stuff, but it just, since this thing exists, I don't see the point in messing with this. But this has like a big power supply brick and stuff that goes with it and a cable and whatever. I just don't care to bring it with me. I used to when we lived in the big motorhome. I had one of these and it was great. But now that we are the way we are, and this thing most of the time lives in the living room. I actually sit in the living room playing guitar while I'm watching football, while I'm watching Formula One, whatever. It's literally just sitting in there, and I have 3 or 4 guitars in the living room all the time, and I just grab it and I play quite a bit. So probably the biggest question that you're all here to want to know is, how does it sound in the room? There is no real accurate way for me to do this. So basically what we have is they're both here, they're both plugged in. This is the preset that I have in both of these amps, but we're going to talk about why that doesn't really, it's not fair in a minute. I'm just going to leave the camera mic. We're using a Rode NTG shotgun mic, the one that I always use to talk to you on. It's about, it's an arm length away from me. And so you can see, it's sitting just behind me, but it's basically on the same plane. And so I would say we're looking at about 4 feet away. So this is what both amps back to back with the same preset, adjusted as similarly as possible, sound like in the room. And you're going to go, oh my gosh, that's a big difference. But I'm going to talk about why I still like this one better in just a minute. So this is the Spark Mini. As to which one gets louder, this one gets louder. It's 40 watts. This one doesn't get as loud, but you probably listen to this thing and you're like, whoa, this obviously sounds bigger. It sounds better. In order to get this to sound good, you have to adjust it completely differently from this one because of speaker size. You've probably heard in Facebook groups and in various places that these speakers are too bassy to be useful. On the preset, I have the treble or the bass turned way, way down on this just to get it usable. This, to me, gives you a more accurate to what that tone should sound like. For example, if you put headphones on and listen in headphones and then take headphones off and play in the room, this is closer to what your headphones sound like, which to me should be more like reality. If you listen to this one in headphones, adjust it a certain way, then take headphones off, it sounds terrible in the room because it's way too bassy. So I personally like this one better because it sounds like an electric guitar to me. Now you can make this one sound big and fat and bassy and boomy and full if you want, but it doesn't ever sound accurate to what you think it should sound like in headphones, what you think it should sound like to the guitar tone that you're making. If you are a person who is going to be home all the time and you don't need the portability and you like the sound that you can get from these speakers being bigger and louder, or if you're going to maybe use this in a coffee shop setting, for example, it's loud enough where you could take it to a coffee shop and, sit in with an acoustic, on an open mic or something. It's loud enough to be able to do that. The only thing I would caution you is make sure that you get your presets the way you like them before you go, because it will be a little cumbersome to make those adjustments in person while you're there. I personally don't like how the amp adjusts. This was marketed as a practice amp to be used wherever you are. That's what this is. Does it sound like a practice amp? Yes. Is it way more capable than a practice amp, like a normal little practice? Yes, absolutely. So I would personally, if it was me, and it is me because I am me, I would definitely get this one and not this one. Remember that as soon as you put headphones on, all of this back and forth and versus goes away because they use the same audio engine. So through headphones, they sound the same. So if you're a headphone guy, just use headphones and use this one because it's cheaper and it's more portable and it's more modern with the USB-C cable and all of the things. It makes way more sense to get this one. I know this was not scientific. I know that just a room mic doesn't really do these things justice, but the thing is, if we close mic'd them and made them all super sound like it's in a studio, then it's not fair either. What most people want to know is what they sound like in the room, even though I know with this shotgun mic I can't get you there because you're not here. So it's a little bit of a kind of a judgment call, you know what I'm saying, on how to address these things. But I think I personally would go with the Positive Grid Spark Mini if I have, and I do have, the choice. Do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and the like button. There will be links to both of these in the description below. They are affiliate links. I actually am affiliate with Positive Grid. They did not, I bought these. This is not sponsored or anything. The only reason I made this video is because people kept asking about which one I would use in a room and what sounds better in a room. Hopefully it gives you a little bit of an idea. So it's not sponsored, but I am an affiliate. So if you use those links, it does help out the channel. It is kind of cool to order directly from Positive Grid. Their customer service is awesome. And you can get little packages and stuff and little discounts. I'll leave, if there's any sales going on right now, I'll leave those sale links in the description of the video because sometimes there'll be packages with foot pedals and stuff, which is pretty cool, that you can usually only get from Positive Grid. And they got these little custom grills too. This was like 25 bucks. I think the custom one for this one was 35. You could make it however you want. It's kind of fun. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you in the next video.